Good morning, and thank you very much. Richard, you're a tough act to follow. I'm very grateful to join everyone this morning, and I'm especially appreciate joining you here on the traditional territory of the Champagne-Asiac First Nation, who have welcomed us for millennium and been guardians of this land. I really appreciate the kind invitation to once again attend the Association of Yukon Communities annual general meeting. And I'd also like to take a moment to express my sincere thanks to all of you. The folks in Haines Junction who are hosting us, the staff who support the village town councils, municipal governments, First Nation governments, and those attending the trade show. And most especially, may I extend my gratitude to those of you who serve the front lines of elected office. It's not an easy choice to stick your name on a ballot, and I'm truly grateful to all of you and to all of those who support those of you who have run for office. Thank you for your service. It's a privilege and an honor for me to be of service to the Yukon and Canada in the Senate of Canada. And while we're awaiting the formation of the next government and the legislation budget that they will bring forward, there are a few items and work in the Senate that my colleagues will be returning to regardless of who forms the government. And I'd like to give you, if I could, seek forgiveness rather than permission, if I could outline a few of the initiatives that we're at work on in the Senate that my colleagues and I will be dealing with. Last year, when I spoke to this gathering, I spoke the importance of recreation and how sport and community and facilities bring us together. I recently awarded a King's Coronation Medal to the longtime mayor of Village of Mayo. Many of you, if not all of you, have worked with Scott Bolton. I'm so looking forward to the panel discussion later today respecting 50 years of leadership. When I was speaking with Scott about his time as mayor, he reminded me of a project we worked on together when I was serving as your premier. At that time, we were constructing a new school in Mayo. The Village of Mayo approached the government of Yukon to contribute financially to the cost of the school. In return, the Village of Mayo would have ongoing access to the school gym facilities. It's been 25 years since I served as premier and some years since Scott was the mayor of the Village of Mayo. But that agreement stands today. It's an example of governments working together. And I'm really sorry that I didn't hear Gord's presentation yesterday. I understand he has it on PowerPoint, so I'm looking forward to sharing that with my Senate colleagues, if I can do so. Working together in the Senate, there are a few bills that my colleagues in the Independent Senate group have brought forward that I anticipate are going to be reintroduced. Again, with sport, Marty Deacon is a senator from Ontario. She's a director on the Canadian Olympic Committee. Senator Deacon is also the sponsor of a bill for a national framework on advertising in sports betting. Other athletes in the Senate include the former director of the Canada Winter Games, Senator Smith, gold medalist and four-time medalist and Olympian Marnie McBean, and Paralympian Chantal Petitclerc. All of these colleagues have or are about to receive an invitation, a save the date for our Canada Winter Games in 2026, our Arctic Winter Games in 2026 in Whitehorse. So looking forward to having them come to the Yukon. And there's an odd time when we toast our athletes, and I think there's some people here who are happy that the Oilers won last night, so I'm sure you toasted and enjoyed that win, some of you. Yukoners are well aware of the influence and the presence of alcohol in our society. Senator Patrick Brazeau is not a member of the Independent Senators Group. He sits as a non-affiliated senator. But I have reached out to Patrick to determine whether or not he will once again be following up on the Yukon government initiative regarding alcohol labeling. Senator Brazeau's bill is an act to amend the Food and Drug Act, warning labels on alcoholic beverages. Warning labels we've seen for some time on our alcoholic beverages regarding the dangers of drinking while pregnant. Yukoners in attendance are also familiar with FASI, Fetal Alcohol Spectrum Society, Yukon. Judy Picozzi is a 40-year advocate for those affected by fetal alcohol and for all of those who care for and support them. And I was also pleased to recently present Judy Picozzi with a King's Coronation Medal. And I also took the opportunity to reassure her that I'll continue my support for Senator Revallia's bill. My dear colleague and senator friend, Dr. Mohammed Revallia from Newfoundland and Labrador, with my support, brought forward a bill calling for a national framework for fetal alcohol spectrum. Beyond my support for these particular issues, as your senator, you'll be aware that I served most recently on the National Security and Intelligence Committee of Parliamentarians. This is a joint committee of the House of Commons and the Senate, and we have members, or we had members, from all parties. You are probably most familiar with our special report on foreign interference in Canada's democratic processes and institutions. I'd also like to remind everyone that this committee also released a report on the federal policing mandate of the RCMP. Contract policing is incredibly important to the North, and I'll be watching very closely to see if there's any government response and initiatives in this regard. This report, the former Prime Minister's statement, is one of many on the RCMP. And our discussions in the Senate on the RCMP are going to be very ably supported by former Chief Commissioner, and no stranger to the Yukon, now Senator Bev Busson from British Columbia. And we have a newly appointed BC Senator, former RCMP member, Baltej Dillon. He's a retired career police officer with 30 years of career with the RCMP, an accomplished major crime investigator, police interrogator, polygraph examiner, intelligence officer, and emergency planner. Good to have him in these debates. I'm looking forward to welcoming him to the Senate. I also look forward to the return of Bill C-26. We didn't quite get that passed before Parliament prorogued, but that's an act respecting cybersecurity and amending the Telecommunications Act, making consequential amendments to other federal legislation. And I noted yesterday that you also had a presentation from Northwest Tal. This particular bill talks about the use of foreign equipment and governing it, as well as cybersecurity and issues, how it's so important to be dealt with. There's been a significant amount of work on cybersecurity, but there's a lot more to be done. This particular bill is, in my view, and in the view of others, addresses critical infrastructure. And critical infrastructure is so important, telecommunications to the North especially. And I strongly believe that that bill will come forward very quickly, and we will be paying a great deal of attention to it. Critical infrastructure and investment in the North is part of our commitment to NATO and should be considered as part of defense spending. When you build airports in Inuvik or you support the fiber line, the redundancy in the fiber line, or support telecommunications in the North with a close governance, you are enhancing the security in the North, and it's incredibly important that we do this. So I could go on about the different initiatives, but that we're doing in the Senate as independent senators, and we'll of course be dealing with the agenda and the budget of the government that's elected on Monday. As I endeavor to represent the Yukon and bring the Yukon perspective on legislation, there are colleagues throughout the Senate who are fierce advocates of municipalities. I'm thinking of Eric Forêt from Quebec, from Rimouski, who served as former councillor in that area. And Paula Simons, although she's a journalist from Edmonton, She has brought forward many municipal issues, including an inquiry on the challenges and opportunities facing Canadian municipalities. So while we're fiercely independent, we're not seeking election, we do endeavor and treasure working collaboratively with you on behalf of our regions and on behalf of Canada. And I'd ask that you please reach out to us. We look forward to working with you and supporting your efforts in Canada's place of sober second thought, the Senate. So I won't go on at great length. I want to just especially thank you again for your service to all of us. As a Yukoner, I'm deeply appreciative of all of your work. And I want to thank you. And again, thank you for the opportunity to share some of what the Senate's been doing with you this morning. Thank you. Masicho. Ganesh cheese. Shonifan. Thank you.